Hello, pilots, and welcome back to another episode of the Where to Fly podcast. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about a way you can make a little bit of extra money with your drone when you're not using it. Importantly, you do not need your Part 107. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, so before we get any further, I'm just going to talk about what it is that you would do. It would be renting out your drone and basically using your drone as a source of some extra revenue. Importantly, you don't need your 107 to rent out your drone. And if you aren't familiar, a Part 107 or a 333 exemption is what you need to fly commercially, at least here in the United States, under the FAA's current guidelines. So if you want to fly for real estate and charge, you need a Part 107. Anyway, to rent out your drone, you do not. And for me, at least, I never really considered renting out my drone or really renting out anything of mine. But there is a website that I've come across recently that kind of takes a lot of the hassle and a lot of the challenges and questions you would have about renting something, especially as valuable and unique as a drone. It takes a lot of those questions out of the picture. So the website's called Fat Llama. Some of you may have heard about it. It's a fairly large, startup that deals in basically a peer-to-peer rental service. So I wanted to go over some of the pros and cons and just talk about, understanding if renting out your drone might be a good option for you or not. So before we go any further, I do want to say I haven't actually used the service yet, although I am planning on using it, but I just wanted to make this video to weigh the pros and the cons. Maybe in the future I'll do a review of the service kind of after I have some firsthand experience, but this is just going to be from the research that I've done, talking about it and giving you guys a little bit of an overview. So first of all, basically the principle of the website, of the service, is that it offers an escrow service and it offers insurance coverage to the renter. So it really protects you as the renter of your drone from somebody stealing it, from somebody damaging it, etc. So the way it would work is when somebody rents a product of yours, say you rent your drone for the day for $50, $100, whatever you decide, someone picks it up, they rent it, that money that they have that you've agreed on goes into an escrow account until they return the product. Then it's undamaged, unharmed, you check it out, everything's good, you take the drone back, you get the money, and you just made $50 for letting someone borrow your drone for the day. Now what's more important, at least in my opinion, is when something doesn't go right, when someone loses it, when someone breaks it, etc. So this is kind of what makes me very interested in the service. So first of all, they offer an insurance policy for any product that you rent on their website, and you can rent, just to clarify, pretty much anything on their website. People rent cameras, camera lenses, all sorts of things, and you're covered up to $30,000 under their insurance policy. And I did some digging around about this, and they also say that if you happen to be renting a product that's over $30,000, you can contact them and they can see if they can make a special exception and add it into their insurance plan, and make sure that you would be covered in the event that it's damaged or lost. Although I would imagine most drones that are being rented out are well below that $30,000 mark. So there are a few important things to note before you release the drone for somebody to use. In order for them to be able to award you like an insurance claim if the drone comes back damaged, they require videos and photos of the drone before you fly. Before you rent it. And importantly, they need to be time-stamped. This is not that difficult to do. If you take a video or photo on your phone, if you have any modern smartphone, it automatically timestamps that image with the metadata. So if you just take a photo, or they recommend actually taking a video if you have a drone of the drone flying and operating, just so if for some reason it comes back and it doesn't fly, you can have that video of it flying to show them in that case. So I wanted to kind of go through some of their frequently asked questions and just kind of clarify a few things, because these are a lot of questions that I actually had when looking at their insurance policies and how everything works. So first of all, they say one of the questions is, what do you need to do before and after a rental? So like I said, they require that you take photos and videos of the drone flying before it goes out to rental, and then when you get it back, you need to contact them within 24 hours if there is damage or something wrong with the drone. So I would probably recommend flying the drone right after you get it back, just to make sure everything is in good working condition. They go on. Another question is what is covered and not covered. From what I've gathered on their website, basically anything that is covered, anything is covered from loss to total, if someone steals it or breaks it, that is all covered under their insurance policy. And another important thing to note is there is no premium or deductible or anything that you would have to pay if someone breaks your drone and it's worthless. They say that they'll replace it right away once they're able to confirm when you send them the videos that it was in working condition before you sent it out for rental. Another question is what value of items is covered. I already went over this, about the exactly $30,000, which should be plenty for any drone. And then what is the claim process? This is a question that I actually was pretty curious about. So the way that they describe it is they first recommend you contact the person who rented the drone from you and try and negotiate with them and see if you can come to a consensus. They say that that's normally the fastest and easiest way. If the person recognizes they broke it and is willing to buy you a new one, replace it, then that's normally the easiest way to do it. But then they go on to say that if you'd prefer not to work with the person who you're renting it with because for whatever reason, or you are not able to get to a resolution, you can then get Fat Llama involved, and they will take it over from there. And once they've deemed that it was the person who rented it was their fault for whatever damage was caused, they'll be able to reimburse you for the damages or replace the unit in whole. And they seem to be pretty solid on that. They say that they'll get you a unit ASAP, and I'm quoting them there. Then it says, am I insured as a borrower? Is one of the other questions. And no, you're not insured if you are borrowing a drone. You are responsible for paying for it. So I imagine the way that their insurance works is if the borrower is not able to pay for it, then their insurance kicks in. But otherwise, they will try and get the borrower, the rentee, to pay you back for it. And then if not, their insurance policy will cover the damages. So those are really the main questions that I had, and some of the questions they put on their website with answers, and I just wanted to share with you. So from where I stand, I feel like a lot of the kind of concerns and questions I had about ever renting my drone out or renting any kind of expensive technical piece of equipment out, it really alleviated a lot of those concerns for me. So I'm gonna definitely have to try this out, and I'm looking forward to making a follow-up episode talking about what I think about the service and if it is really a feasible way to just make some extra cash, because I'm sure, like many of you, my drone just ends up sitting around quite a bit when I'm not able to use it. Between school and a ton of other things, there's not always as much time as I would like to have to be able to fly my drone. So this seems like a very, very promising way to offset some of the costs of it and put the drone to use while I'm not using it. Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts and your opinions on the subject, so please feel free to leave them in the comments. With that said, special thanks to all the patrons out there who have gone ahead and supported this app, including this podcast and all the videos we make, and everything having to do with the Where to Fly app. If you are not yet a patron and would like to become one, you can do that easily through the app under the support section, and there's tons of perks and benefits that go along with that, including getting access to this podcast 24 hours before everybody else. So anyway, if you're interested, you can check that out. Other than that, I'd just like to say I will see you guys next time, and fly safe. All right, bye.